Hola, mi gente. This is definitely not the chisme that I had planned with Erica. So welcome, Erica.
Hello, hello.
This is definitely not the end of month chisme that I had planned. But there is some chisme to be spilled. So Erica, I messaged you this morning because I was like, do you have another time to record? Because something very traumatic happened in our apartment. And you were like, what? So let me tell you, let me fill you in. It's story time. In March, a young lady, and I didn't realize how young she was. She's in her mid 20s.
Oh
Moved
man.
into our apartment complex, and we were like, okay, we found out that she was from a halfway house, and she's in recovery. I'm cool with that. Like, girl, I have family members who've gone through that. I have friends who've gone through that. Like, you work in your program, do that. Like, proud of you for doing that, right? She had a boyfriend who would bring her groceries, who would bring her, I guess, cigarettes and whatever. And she was fairly nice, she was nice. And I tried to make friends with her, a young, like a Latina as well. Um, and then a few months after that, we just like all of a sudden she kind of disappeared and we didn't know what was going on. But it wasn't, and what we realized is she was getting back into her old life because she would come back obviously drugged up. She would come back just when somebody's drunk and or on drugs, right? You can and the difference. And it then other people were coming around. And I think I was telling you about this, Erica, right? As things were
Yeah.
happening, I was kind of telling you. And let me just say, this is the very first episode. I am not drinking wine because I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning.
And this is
And
the first episode that I have wine that you don't.
girl, I I'm trying to get my brain to process everything that has happened, right? Um, then other people were coming around, other guys were coming around, real sketchy looking guys. Um, then we noticed that like all these people had access to our apartment because she was giving out keys. She was like
Oh
making
my
hot,
God.
yes, yes. And thankfully, I don't share a wall with her. I'm two doors down from her, but my neighbor and then the one who lives above her, obviously, they do share walls. And they were saying how it sounded like she's constantly throwing stuff and she's constantly hitting things and whatever. And we just started seeing a like major decline in her, right? When she moved in, she probably was about 250 pounds or so. She's probably down to like 130, 140 now within like 3 months.
That's insane.
So that's
Oh
not
my
that's not
God.
Ozempic weights.
Right, right.
um and so things were getting progressively worse. And then she was bringing trash in and we were getting rodents. And you know, like it was just like all of these things progressively worse, right? There was this guy who would just wait around for her. And it was so creepy because he would just be like across the street staring at our apartment complex. He climbed over our gate one time, at least
That's
one
a
time that
pretty
I
high
know for
gate.
sure. Yes, yes, you've been here. It's a pretty high gate. And and he came around one time again and tried to get somebody to let him in. And I was like, go ahead. I have my camera. I was like, go ahead, climb the fence. He's like, I've never climbed the fence. I'm like, yes, you did. I saw you climb the fence. And or I didn't see him. I saw him right after he climbed the fence. But I asked the plumber who was there, I'm like, did that dude just climb the fence? He's like, yeah. And I said, just give me a reason to call the cops. You don't live here. You don't have a key here. You are trespassing. And then he was here again, just waiting, lingering. And my husband Antonio went out there and confronted him. He's like, "Why are you here? You don't have any reason to be here. You need to leave." And then he threatened my husband. Like, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I can do. And Antonio was like, I don't give a fuck who you are, or what you can do. You don't know who I am. So, um, this has been like, again, like getting progressively worse. She would come home and um uh like bring things that she'd obviously stolen, right? One time a man showed up here looking for his iPods and they were tracking here. She was starting to steal packages that were coming for the neighbors. She um I was like, you need to stop. One time I just was like so mad and I was like, you need to stop having these random people here. What the hell are you doing? What's going on? And she just is so high and so out of it. She just looks down and just keeps walking. And she leaves her apartment with no shoes, Erica.
Oh God.
She walks out half dressed, no shoes, walking in la calle. And my husband just left. So, um, eh, like I said, this just was getting progressively worse. And we were having to call the cops. We were having because of I didn't have to actually, I only had to call the cops once, and I'll get to that. But our neighbors, because of how loud she was being and the disturbance that she was bringing, they are they they're they if you guys hear that background, that's because my husband was leaving for work, making that money so I could do the podcast. By the way, did you see my cup?
Yes. Yes, I did. I
Mrs.
was trying to
Always
see what it
Right.
said. I was like, what does it
She
say?
my somebody gave us matching coffee cups or coordinated coffee cups. It says Mr. Right and mine says Mrs. Always Right. But so yes, it's been like an interesting several months. Uh she's obviously it got to the point where we knew she was obviously turning tricks. Like the way she would leave and the noises that were coming, and then she's bringing her Johns here.
Oh my God.
And and then she started going through our trash. Like legit, she has an apartment, yet she's dumpster diving. And not dumpster diving for like cool things. What are we gonna see? You know how that was like a thing
Mm-hmm.
a few years
Right.
ago? Like, oh, what can you find if you just go to your no. She was dumpster diving. She would get free food. She gets free food. There's a program. So basically how what's all happening is she's part of a program from the halfway house that placed her into our apartment complex. Um, and they check on her every week and she gets food every week delivered. It's like a Hello Fresh, but it's free. It's not as elaborate, but there's some good stuff there because and she would throw them
Mm-hmm.
away. So one time it was a brand new box, hadn't even opened that she was throwing away. And then Tony was like, we're not letting this food go to waste. It's an unopened box of food.
Wow.
And uh and it's like like I said, it's like a Hello Fresh, but it's not as elaborate. It's pretty basic, but there was actually some good stuff in there. And all of this, and she was just tossing away, but then she would dumpster dive. And to say the frustration continued to build up and build up, and we would let our property manager know. She would be outside, and Antonio calls it talking to the spider monkeys because she was so high that she's screaming and yelling at nobody. And
Oh
she
my
would walk
God.
by, and Daisy hates her. So Daisy's one of our dogs. We have two dogs, Keto and Daisy. And Keto is like the chill you've met. They're the chillest dog.
Yeah.
Like Daisy, every time she would walk in or out of the gate, she starts going crazy. So that's how we know because there's only one other unit next to us. And when they walk across, even with their dog, she doesn't make a
Mm-hmm.
peep. She doesn't do anything. only when this particular neighbor comes by, and she goes crazy. So we know every time she's coming in or out because Daisy starts going crazy. It's like it could be 3, 4 in the morning. It could be 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, whatever it is. But she just is not, she's just out of her mind on drugs. And I'm just trying to get through this at this point. And then she was eventually served I think actually when I was in New York that Friday, remember I was so
Mm-hmm.
happy. She was finally served an eviction notice.
Yeah, yeah.
And within that eviction notice, she had 3 days. But then if people like they stay, they become a squatter. And so then
Right.
the sheriff has to come and remove them, and then, remove them, whatever. But as that was happening, she was really progressing into even a darker, deeper place. Last week, she stole my neighbor's package because my neighbor saw the package like right outside her door open. And when she asked for it, like, where's my stuff? You need to give me back my stuff. She went on a tirade. I hear the gate close. She's screaming, F you all, you know, something about a computer. I mean, again, it's like so much. I'm just like, what the heck is happening?
Mm-hmm.
F y'all. I'm gonna get you guys this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
Yes. And then the next day, somebody tries to steal my son's e-bike that we have locked up here. But let me tell you what happened with that. Because, girl, I heard a banging and I was like, what is that? Sound like a pipe. And that's what we have it locked to. And it's one of those big ass thick locks. Like you can't just get a
Mm-hmm.
regular cutter and cut it. Like it's one of those big ass stainless steel locks. Um, and I hear it again, and I thought it was that neighbor. So, but something inside me, and mi gente, like you need to listen to your gut when these things happen. You have to listen to like
Yeah.
something inside me was like, grab the pepper spray. So I grabbed the pepper spray. I open the door and I see a guy with big bolt cutters trying
What?
to cut the lock on my son's bike. And literally, I was like, hey, what are you doing? And I ran out and I just started spraying that pepper spray.
Oh my gosh.
But unfortunately, I ran right into where I was spraying.
I was gonna say, oh no, did you run into it?
I was just so like I wanted to, I
It's
was
funny, but
so,
it's not funny.
it's funny now. I'm not gonna lie, it's funny now. I ran into that. So then we called the cops. We called the cops that night that she threatened everybody, right?
Hmm.
And then literally the next day, we had to call the cops in regards to what was happening with the bike. Um, and Antonio got a good look at him because he came running out. Why, girl? Why? I'm like first line. What's going on? I was like, I'm the first line, and
Mm-mm.
um. But anyways, Antonio came out. He saw his face, and so we've been keeping the bike inside while we in the dirt. It's just whatever. We he needs to take the bike. I love you, Quentin, but you need to take the damn bike.
Yeah,
And
no,
that
it's
was
gotta
last
go.
week. So then this week, I legit have video of her diving in our dumpster. Like Erica, I legit um put bathroom stuff on the top of the trash because I was like, surely she's not gonna want to. No, what do I see? She ripped open the trash bag, and I knew it was our trash bag because I saw my clumps of hair from the shower. But I also saw the pump for my Rizzo's curls, um, refresh
Hmm.
and detangle spray. I saw the pump on the ground, so I was like, that she was in our trash.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. To be that far gone, I can't even like imagine what that feels like. I don't want to imagine what that feels like, but
I don't know. And the thing is I'm always somebody like, if you're in need and you're trying to get help, but when you have help and you decide to like, she legit had the best unit in the complex because her unit is the only one that has a backyard. She wasn't paying for it. She wasn't looking for a job. Like, but like if you don't try and do anything to help yourself, because like I said, she was with that a different guy for the first few months and she was doing really well. I don't know what happened between that point. I don't know. All I know, and I did feel sorry for her at first. I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, I hope she gets help. But when that starts putting your safety in jeopardy, I
right.
can't think of her anymore. We have to think about what like our family. We have to think about our safety,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I got to the point where I would just avoid her because girl, I'm not even gonna lie. If she would have come out in my face at some point, I would have hit her. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, the hands would have been thrown, and um, she got served that eviction notice. Like I said, she's squatting. So, but every day it just keeps getting worse. Like she just like now she's like, whatever, I can do whatever I want. And last night, I was in the living room. So this brings us back to why I am so tired. I just wanted to give everybody context. I hope I'm telling the story well. Am I telling the story well, Erica?
I mean, you're telling me the story because I don't know the details, so I'm just like along with the rest of the audience. Like I'm in it
You
listening.
just know like the general things that I've told you. I've not gotten to this detail with you.
No, I mean this is a lot. This is like a whole episode worth of detail.
I know. So I was watching TV last night and then I don't know. Now I don't know if I smelled anything or not, but it wasn't anything significant but Antonio like was like calls my name and I go into the room and I could definitely smell something in the bedroom. And he was like, "Do you smell that?" And I was like, that is that's fire. That smells like a fire. I'm like, oh my gosh, did that bitch set the dumpster on fire? And he goes, go check. So I went to go check to see if, and I didn't even look the opposite way. So when you come out my front door, her apartment is two doors down to the left or to the right. And then the gate is immediately to my left. So I didn't even look towards that apartment. I just went straight to the left, walked outside, and I didn't see anything coming out of the dumpster. So I come back in, but I see all of the smoke. And as I'm following the smoke, I see smoke billowing out of her apartment.
Oh my gosh.
And then all of a sudden I scream, oh my gosh, it's so and so's apartment. And Antonio comes running out. The neighbors come running out, the ones that share a wall with her. And Antonio was he like looks in the apartment, he's about to get like the water hose. And then he remembers that the fire extinguisher was right there. So he grabs it, breaks the glass, gets the fire extinguisher. And as he's doing that, I'm calling 911. And then I'm banging on the doors of our other neighbors. Like I said, we only have 7 units in our apartment. One unit is completely vacant and one person is on vacation. So I had to go to the two upstairs. I was like banging on their doors so they could wake up and get out because this was after it was close to 10:30.
Oh my God.
Um, and Antonio like tried to put out the fire as much as he could. And came in, closed the windows because I didn't want the dogs breathing that in until we could get them out, right? As I'm like trying to get everybody evacuated. And finally we get out, and um the firefighters arrive, the police arrive, and we're standing outside and we're trying to figure out what happened and everything. But ultimately they pretty much without finalizing the determination, they pretty much determined it was arson.
Oh my God.
And what they said was that all four burners were on. Now we have gas stoves, and all four burners were on, and she had combustible materials by every burner.
Oh my, oh my God, that is terrifying.
So what does that tell you? What we're like, she was trying to explode our apartment complex.
Yeah, she wanted to blow it up. She wanted to blow up
She
the apartment.
she's trying to kill us. Saying that does not feel real, Erica. Like saying that does not feel real. But that's what happened.
That is terrifying.
And and the sad thing is because look, I'm very much a yimby. I'm very much a like people need help. I get it. I want, like I wish we could help everybody, but when it comes to, and I get like there are these eviction laws for a reason. But I also think that if it doesn't have to do with paying, like if you have been looking for a job, if you're working with your management, then I think, but when it comes to like you're now putting your neighbors in harm's way and you are
Hmm.
becoming such a, like you are threatening them, like there needs to be something done at that point. But we had to literally sit and wait. We're just literally sitting and waiting for the sheriffs to come and execute the eviction notice. In the meantime, she's plotting. She had they where Antonio saw like the fire and everything. Apparently she had a egg crate, those plastic egg crates,
Hmm.
filled it with stuff, and that was on fire and started like with the other fires. So she turned, I don't know if the flames were on the stove, but they were, all the gas lines were on, like they were all turned on. And I guess she started maybe that one fire that went into all of the other places, and it looked like Antonio said it looked like she had built a little bonfire.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
So as we're going through this, just like, oh my gosh, as we're going through this, as we're waiting, because we can't go into the apartments yet, I have to talk to the battalion chief because I'm the one who discovered the fire. Um, and the other thing is too, like they kept asking, where is your, um, like what's your property manager's name? And we give it the name and the number, but our property, we have an emergency maintenance line, but that's more of like a message service.
Hmm.
But we don't have an actual emergency contact to
That is
call for the apartments.
that's oh my gosh. I just thinking about like if you guys would be like people that go to bed early, or if I don't know if there are any children in that
Thank
complex.
goodness no. Thank goodness
Like
no.
that's
I mean,
that's scary.
there was six people here in our complex because one guy's on vacation and one empty apartment. And half of the people were asleep and half were awake. So I was awake. Antonio was asleep. The two neighbors upstairs were asleep, and my direct neighbors, they were awake. Um, but yeah, because I mean, Antonio does go, but thank God he smelled that. And like we had time to act, because can you imagine? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what could have happened. And the second thing is that there's these they have cameras, but they don't work. They're for deterrent.
Mm,
And with everything we've been asking them to turn on the cameras, with everything that's been happening, with all of the problems she's brought and the people that she's brought that have caused problems, we've asked them and they haven't. They've refused to turn them on. And yesterday the police were like, "Do those cameras work?" We're like, "No." And they're like, they were pissed. The cops were pissed because they're
I
like,
mean,
this, it just makes it that much harder,
mm-hmm,
right? When they could have stopped it. But here is the pinche pendeja, but also thank God, right? Because while we're waiting, Antonio's like, she's gonna come back. She's gonna come back with her head down, because that's how she comes back, head down when she's all high, walking through the gate, ignoring everybody. The bitch came.
of course. Where else was she gonna go?
So as the fire investigators are in there and everything, I hear the neighbor go, she's coming back. And Antonio's like, she's coming back. So I ran over to the apartment. I'm like, she's coming back. She's coming back. The woman who started the fire is coming back.
Mm-hmm,
So the investigator went straight to the front of the gate. We did not have to deal with her at all. Thank goodness gracious. He dealt with her until the cops got there again.
mm-hmm,
Um, and he's talking to her and asking her questions. And I have the whole thing recorded. And it wasn't because we thought the fire investigator was going to do anything wrong. We were just like, we wanted to prove like her state of mind and how like she's out of her mind on
mm-hmm.
drugs. Like she cannot take care of herself. Right.
Right.
But she knows what she's doing when she's taking like she was sober and she decided to go, like, she was obviously sober for a significant amount of time, or at least I don't know how long, but for a while, because in order for her to even get housing, right, you have to hit certain
Mm-hmm.
markers and all this and that.
Right. Right.
And which I forgot to mention, not only did she push one of my neighbors before, she actually puffed up against her own caseworker. Like this is like she would see cops slam the door on their face and say, I'm not, screaming at them. And there's not anything that they can do. And, she came and she's saying, I live here, and the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it was just, eventually the cops came, they instantly handcuffed her and they detained her for a while. And then they told us she was under arrest for arson and possibly attempted murder.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad.
So that's the chisme. That's my chisme, everybody. That's what's happening in my world.
That's crazy. Like, and the amount of people that's their reality is even
And you know what's
it's
crazy?
even sadder. Like, there's
It
so
is.
many people
It's
out there like that. So many of those situations happening like right now as we speak.
yeah. I think there's I don't even know what can be done, right? Like I just know on the other end, right? On the opposite end. And I get it. Like people need help and I'm not heartless to those circumstances. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I've had family, I've had friends who've struggled with substance abuse, who've gone through hell and back. Um, I just, I also know that I cannot allow somebody to put
Right.
my life and my family's life in jeopardy. And she had apparently the neighborhood said that she had sound like she was like getting lumber. It just sounds like she had planned it. Like it wasn't just a spur of the moment decision
Mm-hmm.
because of the things that she was planning, like what she was doing. It feels very deliberate that she thought about this. So I hope they don't try and say she's like out of her mind. No, no, no. There was definitely moments of lucidity that she planned
Right.
this, right? And I just hope we don't ever have to see her again, ever. It's such, I don't even know how to explain the feeling you get when um when that comes up, when you know somebody like was, I feel like Melrose Place. When Melrose Place,
I mean, this is like a TV episode. Like this is like an episode of Law and Order. Like,
right? Yeah. So we all had to give our statements. We all had to do all of that. And that is why, mi gente, I am not drinking wine right now because I am exhausted. I didn't get to sleep till like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think I was up by my suegra called my husband at probably like 7:15. So I'm maybe on 2 hours of sleep right now. Um, and we did drink wine last night because I was like, yeah, I need wine. I need something. I can't take this
oh my gosh.
anymore. And um, the funny thing is, I had actually um smoked so I could go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
And like I had just smoked a little to calm me down, and literally within 10 minutes, that was a waste. That was a waste because your girl was up and just boom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I know that took up most of the time. Do you have any questions, Erica?
I mean, no, like it's crazy because when you were here at the beginning of October, I remember we were in the car and Antonio called you and you gave me like the super abridged version of what was going on. And you were like, "Oh, I'm just so happy like she's getting out." And then cut to a few weeks later and like she's trying to blow up the complex. Like that's
Yeah.
insane.
I almost feel like I need to, obviously my time as working for the as director of communications for one of the council members, I've made a lot of contacts with the local media, and I almost feel like I need to call them and tell them what's going on, and like in regards to the property management side. Now I will say this: the
Mm-hmm.
previous property manager is the one who put her in here, and then he left and we got another property manager. Y pobrecita is pregnant, and like
Oh man.
like this neighbor has um like harassed her even, and so she, you know but at the same time, like she answers to a company, and this company has been very neglectful in regards to our safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
In saying like, first of all, in and not true, I don't know how much they actually verified in regards to her like coming here. Apparently she has a rap sheet. And again, I'm all about people giving second chances, but like what, like I think if you really want it, I don't know. I just don't even know anymore, right? I just feel like my whole belief system has kind of been blown
Mm-hmm.
up. No pun intended.
It's hard. It's hard to because you want people to get help. You want people to change. You want people to like kind of fold back into the fabric of society.
Absolutely.
But again, like to your point, you know, there's a point you got to be, what about my safety, right? What about my safety, my family's safety? And it's like, I want people to get help, but does it have to be that close to me? Like, I know that sounds awful, but
I mean,
I don't know. And
I
it's like,
think,
what is the solution? I don't know that there is one.
yeah, I mean, the thing is she would have caseworkers, they would come weekly and everything, but half the time she wouldn't be here. Once she started doing drugs again, she wouldn't be here, or she wouldn't open the door purposely. We knew she was in there, but then she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't open the door. Or she, like I said, one she like puffed up on, and that even that caseworker had to call the cops on her. Right. And it's the fact that we have to do all of these things to get help is really sad. Like it shouldn't have to, when you get to a certain point. I know that there are these laws. Um, I don't know how often they're executed, and I don't think that, I don't know if they've been used in her circumstances. I know people are against it in regards to like uh having a conservatorship and like
Mm-hmm.
the basically the state has conservatorship over you because you can no longer make your own choices. I don't know how many times she's been in a program. I honestly don't know. Apparently she's only like 25. She
That is
I thought she was in her 40s. No
that is
joke.
heartbreaking.
And she has 3 kids. That's what killed, like, you don't, I get, like, I've not ever been, excuse me, I've not ever been in that situation where I've been a an addict like that, right? Or at no, like that. Let me like make it sound
Like,
where
what
I've
you
been an
say?
addict, right? I know. Let me backtrack. I've not ever been in that situation. I've not ever been an addict. So I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what somebody goes through. I don't. So I want to be very frank in that, but I also like, so to me, it's just very like, if you have kids, and I guess when she moved in here, she was like, maybe now that I have a place, I can get my kids back.
Mm-hmm.
She's never getting her kids back now.
I mean, she might not get out of jail,
I don't know. I don't
depending
know.
how
I
many
just,
strikes she has and what
yeah, I
they
have
charge her
no
with.
idea. It's just really sad. It really is sad. And I'm, and the thing is before she came back, I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, what if she comes back and we're asleep and she tries to finish the job? I wasn't, I will say this. I'm a very good person in an emergency. I take action. I stay calm and I just do what needs to be done. But then it hits me after that passes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like last night, I was the one who found the fire. I said, oh my gosh, it's truly, call 911, getting everybody out. Like, Antonio was amazing. He went and grabbed the fire extinguisher and was, doing his thing. Um, but then after the call, like after that, like after towards the end of the night, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when it
Mm-hmm.
hit me. That's when it hit me of what just happened. That's when it hit me of, um, oh my gosh, can you hear me? Does
Yeah, I
my
can
sound
hear you.
keep coming in and out or no? It's just on my end
No,
then. Okay,
I
it's
think it
just on
might
my
be
end.
on your end.
Um, and then I just start getting a lot of anxiety about what if she comes back and tries to finish the job, because the firefighters had to break open the back gate, and I thought they had like wire, like bolt cutters or something. No, they like fully broke it to get back there. And so that gate was open now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was worrying me. I was, girl, I sorry, I'm just thinking about like those thoughts again, because that's all I could think about last night. Like, what if she comes back to try and finish the job while we're sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how frightening that is to think of? So I'm so glad she's a dumbass and came back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
is in jail. But I'm still trying to process everything. I feel like I'm processing it as I'm talking to you guys. Like I'm just
And
trying
it's
to,
more like a therapy session.
apparently, apparently, it's because, I mean, we had planned all these things, right? We were planning on talking about, October was breast cancer awareness month. I wanted to share a little bit of my mom's story. We were talking about the end of Latina Hispanic Heritage Month. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do a recap of the New York event and baseball playoffs and this and that. And that just literally went all out the window when our neighbor tried to kill us.
Oh my God, this is like a true crime. It's turned into a true crime podcast.
Oh my gosh. It's just, Yeah, I don't know. Again, we found out yesterday that she had a record. We didn't know she had a record. Like, so they're hoping that that sways the judge to not let her out.
Hmm. I mean, she has a record, and if they, in fact, one of the charges is attempted murder, I mean,
But here's my thing too. Again, I want to go back to because they were saying like they'll say she doesn't have the mental capability.
hmm.
No, she has the mental capability because she had the mental capability to plan this.
Well, I mean, if they're investigating, obviously they're gonna see that it was premeditated. It wasn't like an accident.
Yeah, because but also it wasn't just when she was high, right? It wasn't just when she was high because she was like she had been collecting stuff.
And she had threatened her
Yeah,
neighbors.
yeah. So this isn't an accident. And I know this was not the kind of chisme you guys were expecting. Um, but I actually, I don't talk about my life like too in depth, right? I think I share bits and pieces or things that I think are important for you guys to
Hmm.
know. But this is real life and this happened. And I'm just, again, I'm still trying to, like, my mind feels like if this has ever happened to you guys, please share with me, please. Make like I hope this none of like something like this has not ever happened to anybody who is listening. I didn't think that anything like this would ever happen to me. Like, who thinks that? Who thinks that they're going
Hmm.
to end up in this twisted, weird, like attempted murder neighbor situation? Nobody
And
thinks that.
it also goes to show like things happen everywhere. It could happen everywhere to anyone at any time. I'm not saying this so that people could be paranoid about it. Just kind of aware of what goes on
Well, not
in
only just aware, but
everyday life. Like,
yes, aware, but also sympathetic because you don't know what
right,
somebody's going through, right? You
right.
don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know, like, they might, and not everybody has this platform to be able to share what they're going through.
Hmm.
I just happen to have this platform to be able to, like, say, hey, this is what just happened, right? And and hope that people just understand like you're right, it can happen to anyone anytime anywhere. You don't need to be quote unquote in the hood. You don't need to be quote unquote like
Yep.
in a certain place. Like you've been to my apartment. We live in a nice
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
We have a nice apartment.
Hmm.
Our it's our little cozy one bedroom apartment. But we have a nice place and you don't and you wouldn't think anything like that would go on here, right?
Right.
And it hadn't. Like, we have neighbors here who've been here for 17, 18 years. Nothing like this has ever happened until this person moved in. And she
Hmm.
literally turned all of our lives upside down. This is just nuts.
And I feel like we need like some kind of breather,
I know we need a
some
breathing
kind of
exercise.
like breathing exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and Antonio wasn't sure he was going to go to work, but he was like, no, I'm going to go to work because
Hmm.
thankfully, he didn't have to work until 11 today, which is nice because he
Hmm.
was able to get a little bit of sleep. And, but I'm here with the dogs and I'm also, I don't really plan on going anywhere because I want to know what's happening here.
Hmm.
I mean, girl, I didn't even take a shower this morning. I woke up and I put my hoodie on and put a little bit of makeup on so I didn't look, you know, crazy and just put my hair down and went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. By the way, my curls have been looking good. I actually, you guys, you're not going to believe this. I still use Rizzo's curls for my product, but I've actually switched my shampoo and conditioner.
Oh, to what? I've been trying to gather information because I'm trying to take a heat break because my hair was not curling at all. it
Uh-huh.
wasn't damaged because I got a haircut. Like my hair's not damaged, but my hair just was not curling.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I need a heat break, and it wasn't curling until like maybe yesterday. But I used the Jesus Curls refresher, and I used the mousse. What mousse did I use? I think it's called Curl Up or Curl It. I don't know. I picked it up in TJ Maxx
Uh-huh.
on Sunday, and Braylon was like, "Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah, I get that." I'm like, "All right, well, let's give it a whirl." And
So
actually, I like it.
yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Well, so I actually started using Vida bars.
Okay.
Vida Bars is Latina owned. Anna is the owner. Anna has, she's a curly girl as well. But I had always wanted to try it. So here, look, like many of us, I'm very brand loyal, right? When I find something I like, I want to stay with it and everything. And I love Rizos curls. Everybody knows I've been using Rizos curls for years. But I also wanted to try something a little bit different just to, because sometimes it's good to change things up, right? Sometimes it's good to
Right. So your
shock
hair
your
gets
hair.
used to, yeah.
Yeah. So I was at the Amigas in Business from We All Grow Latina, and they had different vendors there. Anna was there from Oklahoma, and me and Anna have like been online friends, and we've seen each other at different events. But this time we were talking, and I was like, I don't want to try. I've been saying I want to try. You know what? Let me try it. And the cool thing is, she has different formulas, which I
Mm-hmm.
like because I have a ton of hair, but my hair is very thin. And she actually has a thin to medium hair product, and it's the
Okay.
bars. So it's the bar shampoo and bar conditioner, and there's a bar leave-in conditioner. And I always thought, "Oh, is that going to work?" I didn't know how it would feel, whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
got a sample size one, and it has two different kinds of bars in there, so you could decide which formula you like best. And then, but the one thing she asked is, "Oh, are you gonna keep your gray and let your gray grow out?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"I don't know," because apparently there's one like that would make the gray look even better, right?
Oh, okay.
I still haven't decided if I'm keeping the gray or not. Look, 47 is legit days away. I don't know how I feel about
Oh my God, yes, you have a birthday coming up this
I do.
week.
I do. Um, so I haven't decided, but right now we haven't been spending extra money on other things because of all these life changes. Um, and so I haven't gotten my hair done since before the wedding. I haven't got my hair dyed. I haven't done my roots or anything. So I haven't decided on that. But she gave me a different formula and I tried it. And so I've tried it 2 times now, and I really, it's it really has like shocked my curls back to life again.
Mm,
I'm also getting that one brush, that like bounce curl brush thing I've seen on TikTok. I'm waiting to get that to see if that
okay.
even helps my curl. But I continue using my Rizos Curls product. The Refresh and Detangle spray is like holy grail to me. I love that stuff. And the mousse, because I've run out of the curl defining cream.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get some of that. But look, I just took my hair out of my little chongo and went like this, just put my fingers through it, and the curls are looking really good.
I mean,
I
your
didn't
hair
even
looks so
finger
long.
it is getting so
It's
long.
grown a lot. And have you noticed that it's maybe after you stopped dyeing your hair that it's grown a lot? Or am I making that up?
Well, no, because I would get it cut when I would get it dyed. So I was chopping it as well. So I haven't had it a real cut in a while. It needs to be trimmed for sure, but I have noticed something else. My ends look better. They don't look as dry. Like I have noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know, but it has. This year it's just like really started growing again. So I have to do I haven't I was trying to decide if I wanted to let it grow out or not, but right now there's really no decision to be made because I haven't got to get my hair. So that's so the decision is being made for me right now.
I mean, hey, I'm letting my grays in And I find it so funny because the people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're so bold. You're doing, oh, that's so amazing." I'm like, relax. I can't afford
Right,
to
right.
dye
It's
my
not,
hair. That's very
believe me, it's
different.
not because I'm just like embracing the gray.
It's a lot. It's very different.
I'm
I'm
being
not gonna fool
forced to.
anyone. I'm not gonna fool anyone and be like, "Oh my god, yes, I made this decision. I am like owning my." No,
But
I
let me
was
tell
forced.
you,
I
after
was
last
forced
night, I
into that
feel like
decision.
more grades are going to be coming in because I have noticed that, like, obviously, stress. I have noticed that, like, since all this has been happening, the grays have been popping even more since all of this drama. For
Hmm.
after last night, I'm sure I'm gonna have like just a big old gray patch right in the middle.
Oh my gosh.
It's nuts.
But yeah, I've been looking for some new hair products too. So I'm like, I need to change it up because I find that what my hair and my curls do look better when I shop them.
Yeah.
So if I use one product too often, it just I see the difference in my hair. It's not a good difference.
Yeah. Well, literally, everybody got to hear like an actual conversation between us. It wasn't like a scripted thing of, oh, we have topics. This is like legit what
Right.
we could have talked about.
This is what our brainstorming and our weekly calls
They always
are
devolve into the cheese and
like.
everything. But I'm just, like I said, I just cannot. It's it's wild to me all this has happened. To be perfectly honest, it's wild, 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 wild to me that all this has happened, and it's for action to finally happen. It took the freaking crazy. Like I just stopped calling her by her name. I just would refer to her to the crazy, to as crazy. Oh, crazy's coming in again. Oh, crazy. Like that's how I would. And then Antonio would be like, "Oh, your girl." Like, shut up. Your girl's digging through the trash again. I'm like, oh, good. But, you know, we've just had a really hard season in life. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I have some opinions about 2024, and not necessarily nice ones.
Yeah, we've had, I mean, the
it's
highlight of the year has obviously been getting married. Um,
it
and
hasn't been an awful year. It's just been very strange.
yeah,
And it's not like a me thing or a you thing. Just everyone I've talked to has been like, you know what, this year hasn't been bad, hasn't been great. It's just been strange. And it's going by so fast that I feel like people don't even have time to process what is going on. Because I feel like I was literally at your wedding in San Diego, and that was April. And
yeah,
we are now, November is on Friday.
yeah. I it is.
And
It's been a very strange year.
it's like, what is going on? I don't know. I kind of want to chalk that up to the election. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know, but I told my sisters um this I sent my sisters a message because I was like, because I let them know. I didn't let my parents know what was happening because they were asleep and I didn't want my mom to
Mm-hmm.
worry. So this morning
Right.
I called her and let her know. But I just told my sisters, I'm like, we have been in it for a minute. I'm ready for our blessings because we've had a lot of change, a lot of struggle in 2024. And and then I'm having surgery in
Yeah.
2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, or 2 weeks for today from this recording. I'm having surgery, a major surgery, and I'm going to be out. And this it's just, I'm ready for our blessings. Like and me and Antonio were just talking. I'm like, this is just the season. This is just a hard season in life for us right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we're ready to like reap the good
Yeah.
things, and we're ready for the hard times to pass, and ready
Mm-hmm.
for the blessings to begin, because it's been really rough. I mean, obviously things started with me ending up in the hospital last December,
Right.
and then all of the things, and it was a, it was a blessing, obviously, getting married to the man that I absolutely love and adore, um and who would do anything, like would do anything to protect me and love me, um and support me. And then, having family pass away and have this happen, and then everything that's happening with my uterus and all, like,
Mm-hmm.
um and just feeling like opportunities come, but they just weren't landing, right? Like those opportunities were circling, they just weren't landing.
Right.
Um and the financial struggle because of the missing these opportunities, but also Antonio, leaving a profession that he'd been at 20 years, but really because in the long run it was going to be better for us and our family. But in the
Mm-hmm.
short term, it's a struggle because you know, it's the slow season in HVAC. So, it's definitely hit our pocketbooks. And um me finding a part, thankfully I was just able to find a part-time job, because it's been really difficult even finding something full-time. And I couldn't find
Yeah.
something full-time because of my pending surgery, because of my medical conditions. It made it very difficult to even try and find something full-time. Um, and then all of the stuff that we've had to deal with at home with this neighbor. And then it just kind of pinnacled into last night of what happened. And I don't ask much from our audience except to listen or share, right? But I will ask this. Please, keep my family in your thoughts and prayers. Please, uh, you know, send us all the good energy. Um, please support us in any way that you feel you want. If you, whether that's sharing the podcast, downloading it, watching it on YouTube, sharing it on social media, you know, uh, subscribing to our newsletter. We're going to start doing so, like, if people want to donate to support the podcast. And all of that is appreciated. All of that, whether it's financial or not. I honestly just, the financial will come with the listens, but, um, you know, I don't know. I feel weird appealing in that way, but I don't know what else to do at the, you know what I mean? I don't, does that sound
Yeah.
weird? Oh my gosh. Do I sound stupid? Do I need to cut that?
I don't think so. I don't think it's honest. It's honest. Like, this is a platform where you can be honest about yourself, about what's going on in the world, about celebrating other people. And this is a part of it. Like, this is part of it. This is part of life. This is part of what happens, you know? And we were just talking about getting help and asking for help. So maybe sharing about your life, what you think is stupid or what you think is maybe an overshare or too much, that might help somebody. That might help somebody be like, you know what? It's not just me. There's tons of people going through it. There are people sharing their lives and going through it. And they seem to be okay. Maybe I'll be okay too.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Because this has not been easy, that's for sure. But
And
this
I feel
she's
like this this year in particular, the way you and I have been sharing, um, just like our lives and like holding each other's hands and like jumping into the pool together, like I that it helps to know that it's not just you. You have support. Like, you have a platform where people can message you and DM you and share their stories, where you celebrate people. So there's nothing wrong with that. And we need more honesty. We need more honesty. Like, I think people are tired of the curated lives and curated platforms. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see normal people. I want to see people talk about their everyday lives, and I want to feel community and be uplifted. Especially, like, it's so uncertain going into the end of this year, just in general. Like, we don't know what's going to happen next week. Whatever the outcome is, there's going to be turmoil either way. So, we just got to find joy where we can and
Yeah.
support where we can. And
Well,
it's okay to ask for help. I have had to battle that my whole life. I never ever wanted to ask for help from anyone. I was like, yeah, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. And that's the wrong mentality to have. We're a
yeah.
community for a reason. We have families for a reason. Like, we're not meant to walk this life alone. So I've had to let that go. So now I'm encouraging everyone else to ask and accept for help. That's okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, agree with you. Agree with you. And if you've made it through this episode, thank you very
If
much.
you made it this far.
If you've made it this far, just because this is obviously not what we normally talk about, this is so like out of left field. I mean, it's out of left field because who thinks that somebody's going to try and burn your building down with you in it purposely?
But it's crazy too, because you were like, okay, I'm just gonna mention this at the top and then we'll go into it. And we ended up talking about it the whole episode. But I did want to mention the wine that I'm drinking
Yes, please mention the
because
wine. Oh, I bet
it
you it's a
was
Latino owned wine
yes. Yes, it is.
from my time in New York.
From your time in New York. So I wanted to make sure to get that in. This is the Monroy.
Monroy wines.
Yes, this is the
Their
Cabernet.
cab. Yeah.
I love it. I love, love, love it.
It's so good. It's
It's
so
really
good.
good. It's so smooth. It goes
Well,
down. I like.
we can mention that the New York trip was amazing. We had again some ups and downs, but ultimately it was really awesome. We took a day trip to RGNY.
Yes.
We got to meet Leo, and it turned into a whole podcast episode, which will
Mm-hmm.
be, I got to get that edited so it can, be the first one of November. But it ended up, and Leo ended up coming to our event as well. And I got to share the stories of these wine brands and the story, and he got to share like the winemaking secret,
Right.
what certain
Sharing his
terms
knowledge
mean.
was like the cherry. Like, that was a bonus that
Yeah.
no one expected. So the people that were at the event got like a bonus part that we haven't done yet at events.
Yeah. But lesson learned, like next time we do an event, we're going to stick to Manhattan. We tried to
Yeah.
venture out into Brooklyn, but I think that probably hurt attendance a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think from now on, we're just going to stick to Manhattan because obviously that's the central location for all of the other boroughs.
Right. Yeah. And even for like Long Island and New Jersey.
Yeah. So, but we'll talk about that another time. Mi gente, I just want to thank everybody for listening and for, we have, I'm not gonna lie, we have a really supportive community. Um, so any words of encouragement would be appreciated. You can reach me on Instagram at the Wine and Chisme Podcast. You can email me at hola at the wine and chisme podcast.com. TikTok at the Wine and Chisme, or no, yeah, the Wine and Chisme. Um, and link, and so those are probably just the best ways to reach me. But I just wanted to say thank you. And Erika, thank you for another thank you. Like I said, this is like a real conversation. This is exactly what
Yes.
I would be telling you in the way
Yeah.
I'd be telling you. So now everybody just got to like hear a behind the scenes of
Right.
my crazy life. Mi vida loca, part two, but totally different.
I love that movie.
I was just talking about it, and Antonio's like, "Oh, that's so." He's like, "It's so cheesy." I'm like, Dude, half the people are like real cholas in there. They're not actors. Like some
Right.
of
Well,
them,
at
yes,
the
are
time, it
actors,
was
but
good.
yes, forget him. All right, mi gente, muchísimas gracias y saludos. Hola, mi gente. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Wine and Chisme podcast. If you would like to hear more wine and more chisme, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Saludos.